Service Commission appears to be living in Lajes. That reports all over of members of the Judicial Service Commission touring countries abroad, living in luxuriously, are not very pleasing. And therefore, we want, even as we give monies to other arms of government within the justice and law and order sector, that such.
Your time is up. Honorable Junet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to contribute to this motion, to this debate on the presidential address. Madam Speaker, first I want to bring to the attention of the House that's a requirement of the Constitution that the President once in a year reports to this Parliament on the achievement of certain parameters that are stipulated in the Constitution. And Madam Speaker, that provision was made in the Constitution so that this House can hold the President accountable. We are not here to have a chorus of thanking the President, appreciating what he said. That's none of our business as a House. We want to know, as a House, from his speech, whether the last 1 year he has achieved those issues that he is supposed to report back to this House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when I listened very keenly to the President on that day, because I was present in the House, I almost thought that the President is relaunching his UDA manifesto again for the second time, Madam Speaker. Because the whole speech was full of promises, promise after promise after promise after promise. Madam Speaker, these promises must come to an end, and Kenyans must be told what the government of the day has achieved for the last 1 year, Madam Speaker. 1 year is quite a long period of time, Madam Speaker. A lady gets a child in 1 year, Madam Speaker, after getting married. A whole human being is produced in 1 year, Madam Speaker, through marriage, Madam Speaker. So if you can produce a whole human being living in 1 year, but in 9 months, actually, in less than a year, what is this that you cannot achieve in 1 year, Madam Speaker? So, Madam Speaker, let us be honest to Kenyans. Let us not address Kenyans as though some of them are living on earth and others are living in the moon, Madam Speaker. I heard people saying that we have stabilized the economy. I don't understand what stabilization means. When people are suffering, the cost of living is high, the cost of food is high, what have you stabilized? Unless you have stabilized things in a manner that we Kenyans cannot see. You are struggling with debt payment, you are struggling with revenues, you are struggling with all kinds of things, and then you have the audacity to tell Kenyans that we have stabilized the economy. A stabilized economy is an economy that has less debt and higher revenues, where you don't need to borrow to pay a debt. We are living in an economy where today, if we don't borrow, we will not be able to pay our debts, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, some of the things that I listened to in that speech, for example, is the issue of the Hustler Fund. Somebody borrowed 740,000, and now he's a rich man. He has bought a tuk-tuk. Madam Speaker, I don't know if we are living in the same country or we are living in different parts of the world, Madam Speaker. If you have a 740,000 shillings, that is enough to buy a tuk-tuk. But if people are saying that, it's like telling me today that I will get 1 million shillings.
Honorable Speaker, you know, the Honorable Junet has been born in affluence. He's lived as a rich kid. So he does not know how much 700,000 can transform a person's life. He does not know that the price of unga today has moved from 250, which he supported during President Uhuru's speech in this very house,
Order.
that it was 250.
Order, Honorable
now
Owen.
it's at 135.
Order, Honorable Owen Bayer. Order, Honorable Owen Bayer. That is a point of debate. You will have your chance to actually debate. Honorable Junet.
Madam Speaker, thank you for protecting me. You know, if the President and his government are relying on advice from Honorable Bayer, then I can tell you things will get worse going forward. Because I should expect as a leader to tell the President that on this one we are... Madam Speaker, in the whole speech of the President, I did not hear a word that was addressing the cost of living, Madam Speaker. And what is killing Kenyans is the cost of living. That is what this government promised to lower. They never promised to tell us that they are going to buy tuk-tuk for people, they are going to buy this for this. No, it's about ugali, it's about their stomachs, it is about their lives, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to urge the government that in the next presidential address, which will be 2 years, a year from now, and it will be 2 years of this government, Madam Speaker, I hope and pray that there will be something.
Your time is up. The next chance will go to, the next chance I will not add. It is 5 minutes. I will not add. The next chance will go to the member for Westlands, Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you to give me a chance also to contribute to this presidential speech. Madam Speaker, when the president arrived here and when he stood up to speak, I thought he had forgotten his speech because he looked worried and spoke without reading. But later I realized that maybe he had memorized his speech. He gave out, I believe, what looked like a self-examination of his conscience and a report giving to the country. Madam Speaker, only those who are sitting in government, I think they believe things are okay. But from the body language of the president, he is a worried man. Things are not working, and he just stopped informing the country that they are in trouble, that we are in trouble. And we want to believe that he has good intentions for the country, and that within the next 12 months, he'll move with speed to put the country back on the road. Some of these people, the people sitting with him in government, Madam Speaker, they are not helping much. On Monday, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, when we are, the day they declared a national holiday for planting trees, we saw in the media how wastage in a government that is already struggling with cash constraints, the CSS and senior government officials flying from one corner of the country to another to go and plant trees. This job could have been done very well by the DCCs, the chiefs, and including the local leadership. I believe that is part of controlling government expenditure. And when we are struggling with no cash, Madam Speaker, I think the president needs good people around him to help him, Madam Speaker, to streamline how the government can recover and bring back the economy back on the road. But the way we are going, I see that there is no seriousness in the government, and we hope that when the bipartisan report is come here, we will see something different coming out so that the government can start functioning the way Kenyans expected. I'm sure the Kenya Kwanza government made so much promises to Kenyans. The Kenyans have got very high expectation, and from what they are seeing, they are frustrated. People of Kenya are so frustrated, and they're still waiting to see the bottoms-up promise, the hustlers rising from down there and being placed somewhere. And even the hustler fund, I'm still waiting to see the effect, because the president said so much has been done. I'm still even to hear from anybody from my constituents telling me what hustler fund has done in his life or impacted on him. All these are things that we are looking forward to. And I'm very sure that with his determination, he's a man who has got a lot of energy, and I'm very sure President Ruto, if he gets right men and women in his government, Madam Speaker, he will deliver to Kenyans. But the way it is now, I doubt it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The next chance will go to the member for Keio South, Honorable Gideon Kimayo. Not in the House. The next one will go to the Honorable Member for Isiolo South, Honorable Bidu Tubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to air my views on the same. One thing, Madam Speaker, the speech by the President had good things and forgotten some issues. Some good things, including the education. When we talk about education, that is a tick, because education seems to be training. Whatever is supposed to be the requirements for teachers training has been lowered so that a lot of people are going into the schools. That is a tick, I can say. Several others about economy and all these things. It looked as if the whole thing was biased towards agriculture. We have what is called livestock and livelihood. Nothing touched on the livestock and livelihood, which is a mainstay of a lot of people in the north. That thing never touched, the President did not touch or bother to touch. Then the issue of floods. Floods has caused a lot of problems in the country. Right now in my constituency, 4 centers have been closed along the river Wasonyiro, and nothing seems to be going on. I mean, when we talk of closing the centers, an existing center has been closed. Along Wasonyiro, there is Gafarsa, there is Resaboru, Sericho, all these things, all Badana and all these areas are being closed because of flood waters. Nothing has been said about this. Then